Hi, Bernie from the Walworth Library, and I'm here to do a Crafty Tuesday with you. And today we're going to do some painting with salt. This is something that you can do with the kids at home from school, and it's kind of an art and a science project together. We are going to need for this project some table salt, some school glue, that it's in a squeeze bottle, an eyedropper, some water, some dishes, and some watercoloring, and either cardboard or cardstock. Now, I also, because we're using salt and I didn't want to get it all over, I have a small box that I'm going to be using to put my project in so that stuff doesn't get all over the place. All right, so what I did is I decided to choose a shape that I wanted to replicate, and I had a little cat figurine that I had made with some air dry clay, and I just traced it on some paper. This is cardstock, but you can do this on cardboard also. And then I put it in my box so that I don't get a mess all over the place in terms of the salt. And I need to trim my paper just a bit because it's a hair bigger than the box. And I want my paper to lie flat. All right, so I'm going to adjust my camera so you can see my box with my traced figures here. I'm going to take my glue and I'm just going to carefully go along the outside edges and outline my figure that I've already traced onto my paper. And then I'll fill it in, staying inside the lines. I want to make the ears a little bit bigger here so that they're more prominent. All right, so you can see my cat shape. And then I'm going to take some salt, and you can see why I have the box now. I'm putting a good amount on there. And then I'm going to shake off the excess, and it all goes to the bottom of the box. So I did one of these a little earlier, and I let it dry. I'm going to put this in my box. And why paint with salt? Well, salt has a really neat property where it has the ability to absorb moisture, both liquid water and also water that's in the air, vapor, and it makes it a good preservative. But this property of absorption is called hygroscopic. And I have a little bit of food coloring in some water, and I'm going to put it into my eyedropper. And you can see, if I adjust my camera a little bit more and adjust the box, I'm going to just put a drop on, and you can see how that water absorption, it spreads with the salt property. And he's got a big fluffy tail this time, but make sure you just stay right on the glue and salt mixture that you put down. And you can see how the water is absorbed. It's drawn in. And this figure, when I did my glue and salt mixture, I let it dry before I did it. This one is still wet. Let's see what happens when I do it on a wet template. Same thing, it's absorbing. It doesn't absorb quite as well because the glue is still wet, but it still does absorb. So here's my challenge with you today. If you do this with your kids, you can see how the water is absorbed when you're using salt and glue. What would happen if you were to use sugar and glue? Would it have the same property of absorption? I don't know. I'd like you to try it and let me know what you think. All right, this is Bernie doing a Crafty Tuesday with you. See you next time. Happy crafting.